Right. So hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. I'm Madison Bennett, and I'm here with Roger Bair.
Good morning, Maddie. What are we here to talk about?
Good morning. So we're here to talk about the not so pretty truths about retirement. Some of them may not be fun topics.
You mean the ugly truths?
Yes, the ugly truths. I tried to fluff it up a little bit.
Well, wait a minute. I thought retirement was just about fun and frolic and vacation.
Yep, we know better than anybody. It's not.
Well, okay. It makes sense that we're here to talk about it, I suppose.
Yep, I think so. So, all right, let's go ahead and dive on in.
Great.
So the first ugly truth about retirement is investing. So a lot of what goes on with investing, unfortunately, does, or not a lot, but chance is involved when you are investing. It's inevitable. It's in the market's genes. It's like physics. So what happens in the first 10 years before retirement and the 10 years after retirement, what happens in the market in those years plays a huge role in how well funded your portfolio is. So during uncertain times, it's best to take a more conservative approach. However, you can be too conservative, and the biggest risk to that is inflation. So it's very important that you maximize your contributions whenever possible and start as young as you can. Because you're more than likely are not saving enough or have not been saving enough. So it's very important that you are aware of how much you're funding your portfolio.
Sure. No, I think you're absolutely right. I think, well, the young people in my family, and you're certainly young, my kids, as an example, I don't think they have a good understanding of just how much money they're going to need to retire. It's a pile of money.
Mm-hmm.
And I think your point about being too conservative is important, especially given the current circumstance, right? We have a bout of inflation, and inflation can be ruinous to both to spending and investment portfolios. And in particular, your observation that the years immediately preceding and after retirement are vitally important to your financial health during retirement. And the markets can be, and this is a perfect example of a time where the markets can be incredibly volatile.
Yep.
So investing is important, but because it entails taking on risks in a portfolio that are could have long-term consequences for your spending and your financial health in retirement.
Yep.
So unfortunately, it's an ugly truth.
Yep.
All right, what do we have next? Oh, longevity.
Yes.
So I think longevity is an enormous risk that we need to think more about. If I was looking this morning at how long we live and how long we lived in the past, but when Social Security was started back in the 30s, they chose age 65 because most folks didn't live that long. Well, today everybody lives to 65. Matter of fact, the average life expectancy at the moment is 80. It was 70 back in 1960. So our life expectancy is increasing. And so all of these variables, these factors on the screen are affected by a longevity risk. That is the idea that you're going to live longer and that your retirement as a percent of your total lifespan is longer. And we just mentioned inflation, that is medical expenses, your housing expenses, all sorts of expenses could be impacted by how long you live.
Exactly. Yep. And a good kind of hedge to help account for some of these unexpected expenses in retirement In terms of healthcare, a health savings account is a very vital tool to kind of help supplement those unexpected costs. So if you are a part of a high deductible health plan, it's important that you're maxing out that health savings account every year, because it rolls over year after year, even if you don't use it, and you can use that as an extra bucket to pay for medical expenses in retirement. And just one other thing to add is that last bullet, your overall health will affect your retirement costs. So kind of be cautious of making sure you're staying active, a healthy diet, all of that, because it'll allow you to kind of prevent those unexpected costs in retirement, because you're healthier overall.
Sure. If you don't take care of yourself, you're going to regret it, I think.
Yeah, certainly. All right, so Social Security. So really the biggest ugly truth here is if you do take Social Security too early, that could affect your benefits overall. So you get a permanent decrease when you take your benefits too early. So the longer you wait, the higher your benefits will be. So if you wait until age 70, which is that maximum age, it doesn't continue to grow past that. It grows at 8% per year up until age 70. So if you don't need to take it, whether it be you're still working or you can pull other sources of income, it's better to wait. That way you allow your benefit to grow to the maximum amount it can.
Right. This is a classic case of, if you tell me when you're going to die, we'll give you the perfect solution.
Right.
But assuming you're going to live long, you probably are much better off deferring the age at which you take Social Security. It's a guaranteed increase of 8% per year. And if you compare it to market returns, as an example, you say, well, wait a minute, this is a guaranteed increase and it's inflation adjusted. Why wouldn't you wait? So now we have tools, of course, more sophisticated tools. We can do analysis, but generally speaking, Maddie, I think you'll agree, we try to encourage clients to be patient and wait to take Social Security.
Yep, definitely.
So what's next? Roth. So I heard a description of IRAs recently that really resonated with me. Someone observed that if you have a traditional IRA or a regular 401k, a pre-tax retirement account, the United States of America, and in our case, the state of Maryland, are partners in that account with you. So, but if you have a Roth, it's all your money. The other advantage to a Roth, in addition to the fact that you can withdraw the money tax-free forever, and that's a long time, you don't have to take required minimum distributions from a Roth. So you have much more control about the tax effects of your investment distributions to support your retirement lifestyle. So Roth is great. We even feel, whereas we used to say, okay, if you're younger, use a Roth, we even feel older clients, older investors can make good use of Roths. And we also do a good deal give a good deal of thought to converting traditional money to Roth IRAs, in spite of the fact that you have to prepay your taxes. We still think that's a great idea as well. So we can't emphasize, as you can see the size of the font there, we can't emphasize enough the use of the Roth in today's environment.
Very important. All right, so spending. You never truly know how much you're really spending. However, it's important to kind of understand what your outflows of cash are. So it's important to consider what your cash flow will be now versus in retirement, because you will use this to determine what additional amount you may need to pull from your portfolio on a yearly basis and kind of use that to plan around what your retirement expenses and budget will be.
Yeah. I mean, I think not only, and I'll point my finger, not only do you not know, I think you don't want to know. I think there's a good deal of denial about how we spend our money. Drew uses a word convicts. If you look at where you spend money, it convicts you. That is, you're informed, maybe more than you want to be informed, about the way that you're spending money, how much is slipping through your fingers. So I strongly suggest that anyone, both Maddie's age or my age or in retirement, spend some time looking at where your money is going, because we are highly suspicious that you don't know how much you're spending.
It's important to figure out where you're spending so you can determine where to cut back if needed, or just kind of get a better grasp of where you are spending your money.
Sure.
Yeah.
Can you borrow to fund retirement? And the answer is no. So this comes up much more with younger clients, where every dollar is there's a large amount of demands on every dollar, every income dollar that is made, that comes coursing through your income statement as a family. And one of the classic alternatives we have here is, should we spend money or invest money for children's college education as opposed to putting away money for retirement? And it's an important acknowledgement. You can borrow money for college education. You cannot borrow money for retirement. Now, college education's tuition, like healthcare expenses, I think the economics of tuition are probably broken, and that's a topic for another day. But tuitions are large. This can be a lot of money, but the fact is, the amount you need for retirement is much larger. And again, you can't borrow to achieve that goal.
Mm-hmm. And I think it all kind of trickles down. If you prioritize helping your child fund college over retirement, eventually they may have to take care of you down the road if you don't save enough. So yeah, you're giving them money now and the child may not have to worry about it now, but down the road you may become a burden on them financially because you helped them pay for college. So
and you can't maintain your standard of living in retirement.
Exactly.
Sure.
Yep. All right, so company help for retirement. So I know back in the day, companies provided pensions and kind of were the main source of providing for retirement. But in today's world, you can't count on that. While 401k or a company retirement plan would be great, companies don't always offer one. So if they don't, certainly utilize Roth IRAs like we talked about. The Roth IRA can be used for both emergencies and retirement because you can pull your contributions out at any time if needed. And a Roth IRA is also a good estate planning tool because even your kids won't have to pay taxes on it if they inherit it.
So I'll never forget my grandfather, who was an attorney, but he worked for the USFNG, which was an old line Baltimore insurance company. I asked him about his retirement, and he said the company will take care of him. Well, as it turns out, the company hardly took care of him. He had a tiny little pension. So that has stuck with me all of this time. And what I would say strongly is you are responsible for your own retirement. Yes, there is Social Security, but Social Security is only to supplement your retirement income. You are responsible for saving and investing for your retirement.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, I hope it's obvious. Maddie's gotten the message, and she's hard at work on this, and her success is assured because at her young age, she's beginning to put money away. But very, very important that you don't relegate your responsibility to your employer. You are in charge of investing and saving for retirement. No one else is going to take care of you.
Exactly.
So housing is an interesting one because I was thinking about it driving to work, Maddie. They quite often, someone my age, as an example, Audrey and I are in our 60s now. You might say, well, we're going to downsize. And the book on downsizing your home really suggests that it doesn't work on an economic basis. Maybe you have your same stuff in a smaller space, but on an economic basis, your costs don't decrease that much. So I just think that's one indicator that you may indeed be overspending on housing. And we got to be very careful as you prepare for it, enter into retirement, that we don't overspend on anything, housing included. So now, of course, we talk to clients a lot about using the continuing care retirement community model in late retirement to make sure they have infrastructure that is there for them as they age and need more assistance. But I think broadly, housing and other expenses, we got to be careful we don't overspend, or as our slide says, you don't want to be house poor in retirement. And your housing costs are important to keep an eye on.
Mm-hmm. And on top of either downsizing, another option would be moving somewhere where you get more kind of bang for your buck. If it makes sense more to be, you may not be closer to your children, but if it does allow your money to go further and you do like the environment, that's a good option as well. And we're not saying you need to pay down your mortgage before retirement, because that may not always be the best option if it detriments how much you're able to save for retirement. It's just something to keep in mind. So working in retirement, I know that doesn't sound right at all. It's kind of an oxymoron, but it may be a good option whether you need to financially or you want to kind of help you stay busy. It's a good way to definitely boost up your retirement nest egg while maybe not working as many hours as you were before retirement. And of course, the mental and physical benefits of keeping busy will help as well.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. Whoops, my phone's ringing, pardon me. I think when I look at this, Maddie, the other dimension here, I think, is just staying connected, staying active. I think if you get up in the morning and you don't have a challenge, that's a problem. It's not good for your mental and physical health. And committing to some kind of work endeavor, relationship, it is really a great idea. It may indeed reduce the need for you to take income from your investments. And that may be a side effect. Actually, I think the most important effect is on your mental and physical health, to keep you engaged and challenged, social and active. Occasionally, I'll say to a client, get what I call a laugher. Like, what's a laugher? I said, well, a fun job.
Yeah.
And I get this look like, a fun job? Yeah. something you might have fun doing. You get up and say, oh yeah, somebody's going to pay you to do this. I always kiddingly say I might work at Lowe's or Home Depot because I'm a do-it-yourselfer, and I would love to do that. Just walking around helping people in the store find stuff, talking to them about their projects.
Yeah.
And, I worked with an Army officer who when he retired, he said to me, the only star I'm going to wear, because in the service, the insignia for a general is a star. And I said, are you going to be a general? And he said, no, the only star I'm going to wear is the big red Texaco star. What he was going to do is go home and buy a gas station and pump gas.
Oh.
So, yeah. So at any rate, I think some work, some commitment, maybe volunteering is important to your mental and physical health in retirement.
All right. So supporting your loved ones, your adult children or your aging parents could certainly get you off course for your retirement efforts. Cutting off your children, as hard as it may be necessary if you're looking to retire. Really, your middle age years from 40 to 60 are your prime income years, where you have the most disposable income to sock away into your retirement accounts. So having to financially support a loved one could really hurt your efforts to save for retirement. Also, something to keep in mind, if it's absolutely necessary to support them, ensure that you factor that expense into your retirement plan, whether it be you need to work longer or, like we said, work part-time when you retire, to kind of help make up for this cost.
Right. Maddie, as you know, when we do a financial physical, one of the things we search around for are potential risks involving the need to support a family member. And this indeed is a risk. Is there someone in your life that you will need to support, both financially and otherwise, that could, as you say here, could derail your retirement efforts? It can be, if you're a caregiver, as an example, for a spouse, even a partner, even that's an enormous drain, physically, mentally, and financially. So this is a very tangible risk that we've got to attend to as we near retirement. Yep. Think about it. Are we planning our retirement around the need to support a third person, not husband and wife, a third person? Well, the answer is generally we don't do that. So this is what did they say? It's an unknown. And we got to think about what sort of risks or who are the people in our lives that can present themselves for needing care of one form or another. Well, so Steve Covey always says, begin with the end in mind, and your estate plan is the end. And what does that mean? Well, it's a plan that will help you pass the assets of your life onto your heirs in a very seamless, unburdened, organized fashion. That's why you need a plan. As we say here, your wealth transfer plan is really articulated and embedded in your wills and your beneficiary designations, but it could be more complicated than that. Likewise, end of life decisions, your healthcare power of attorney in Maryland, your advance directive articulates how you want to be treated if you're in an end of life situation, because your desires for treatment, your preferences for treatment might be different than members of your immediate family, to whom you delegate the authority to make decisions for you if you were unable to make them for yourself. And likewise, burial preferences. I always think we are going to spend much more money on someone else's funeral than we would ask them to spend on ours. And so it just simply, if you can give the members of your family what you prefer for your last rites, for how you want to be buried or cremated or what have you, that could save them money, but also it's a gift. At a difficult time in their lives, they don't need to search for documents, etc., or try to remember what you've said about what you want when you die.
Right. Mhm. And the ugly truth about all of this is your retirement years really are the years where you need to make these tough decisions. So it's just important to begin to start the process if you haven't already. And then the last ugly truth is just communicating your wishes. So everything we talked about in the prior slide, you have to communicate what you want or what your plan is to your loved ones so that they understand. I know it's tough to bring up these topics with loved ones, but it's better to communicate it before the actual event happens because it allows more time to plan, take action, and ensure your wishes are carried out. And you also avoid misinterpretation by your loved ones who are left behind. And it's not only tough topics for burial services or prolonging life measures, but also for your wealth transfer plan. So it's very important that you talk about these with your loved ones.
Right. I could not agree more. And, in many families, Maddie, talking about death or money are really taboos.
Yep.
And that does not help when decisions need to be made or when there is an emergency. So you need to try to break those taboos. Everybody dies, and everybody needs to make good decisions about money, and everybody gets older, as the previous slide says. As time goes on, your wheels literally and figuratively don't turn as fast. And so before that happens, we want to encourage anybody who is listening and watching to communicate to your family about what you want in a range of issues surrounding aging, final expenses, estate, and retirement.
Not easy, but it's worth doing.
Not easy, but worth doing. So I guess the ugly truths of retirement are by no means intended to say retirement is all ugly, but it does, I think, point out that we need to attend to these risks, and so that you can be happy, healthy in retirement and try to avert some of the pitfalls that we have seen clients experience in very negative ways as they are living in their retirement lives.
Exactly. So thank you all for joining us today. If you have any questions for us or any other topics, feel free to email us at info@financialconsulate.com. Thank you and have a good day.